take a fly-on-the-wall look at an inspirational music teacher in the documentary Mrs. Carey's Concert.
There's lust for power and romance in the martial arts action drama The Lost Bladesman.
And we follow the first year of life of 4 infants from different continents in Thomas Balmer's documentary Babies.
Good evening.
Hello.
Also tonight we speak to filmmakers Bob Connolly and Sophie Raymond about their film Mrs. Carey's Concert.
And I'm going to reacquaint you with a highly aggressive extraterrestrial in Ridley Scott's 1979 sci-fi classic Alien. But David, let's start with Mrs. Carey's Concert.
Well, this magnificent documentary begins with a teenage girl, Doretta Balkaisis, waiting for her cue to play a violin solo at Sydney's Opera House. This young girl's emotion-filled face is the starting point for a film about the work that goes into the staging of a biannual concert by students at Sydney's MLC school under the supervision of Mrs. Carey. As preparations for the 2009 concert take place, much of Mrs. Carey's attention is focused on Emily's son, who was born in Australia to Chinese parents who suffered under the Cultural Revolution and who's to be the soloist for the year.
Her husband was changing a tyre on the side of the road and was killed about 10 years ago. She said Emily doesn't remember her father. Must have some sort of impact, mustn't it?
Emily looked like exactly her dad, not like me. But Emily's personality and really like that. It's very nice, very womanly. So making me always, sometimes making me cry. Last time Emily played Queen, making me cry. Then making me remember my husband. That time we are young, only 20. He's really a musician. It's a pity.
In contrast, there is Iris Shee, who leads a group of girls who can't see the point of the concert and who present a discipline problem for the staff.
You people are going to be separated from them, and we're going to do it independently and to find out how that group functions without a disturbing influence. We're going to start doing exactly the same stuff.
But we're already in trouble now. We're already getting our names taken out of
Miss,
school.
you said that you just picked up the baddest people of the entire year. You just put them together. How does that work?
I'll tell you why I did it. Because in the judgment of the staff who are running it, you're the ones who continually made it decent work. So we'll find out at the end of this lesson, when they come back to me. Hang on, Marissa. When they come back to me and say, what's your name, by the way? What's your name?
Mine? Oh, Iris.
Yes, okay.
This astonishing fly-on-the-wall documentary from Bob Connolly and Sophie Raymond is a tribute to teachers and pupils alike. The amazing amount of work that goes into the biannual MLC Opera House concert is even more astonishing when you remember that these teenage girls have their regular school studies as well. Everyone's expected to take part, but the dedicated and talented young musicians have to work extremely hard and overcome misgivings and other difficulties, egged on by their dedicated teachers. Connolly and Raymond obviously had total access, which makes for a rounded and very satisfying film that is both hugely entertaining and incredibly inspirational. Margaret.
Well, it's pretty remarkable that you have the school and the parents going okay to this expose of the children and, some of the troubles that they have. But it is an indication that, after Bob Connolly hasn't made a film for a long time now.
10 years.
10 years. And this wonderful way he has of embedding himself in situations that made that fabulous New Guinea trilogy, Rats in the Ranks, that you just got to admire him for being prepared to spend the time in that minute way to capture some sort of truth about situations.
And when you think about it, I mean, when you set out on a journey like this, which is going to take a year, 18 months, you never know quite how it's going to go. I mean, you could wind up with a not very interesting story, whereas in this case, he's wound up with a beautiful story.
Well, you've got that glorious concert at the end, but it's not just fabulous music either.
No.
It's actually really very touching.
There's a lot of humour too. I mean,
Yes.
Mrs. Carey's a wonderful character.
And Iris is, you know, a real character, you've got to admit.
Yes, and
she's naughty, but she's interesting.
And I loved Emily and her mother telling us a little, because we don't see much of their private lives at all, but
No.
when Emily's mother talks about... I mean, I loved all that. What are you giving it?
I'm giving it 4 stars.
I'm giving it 4.5.
Technically, it was a difficult film to shoot, and it was a difficult film to edit because these narrative documentary, observational films, there's no recourse to narration, which papers over cracks in the narrative sort of stuff. So you've got to look for your solution in the material itself.
Yeah.
And the narrative is, you know, sure, it's called Mrs. Carey's Concert, so that's the overarching narrative of it, and it's this journey that these girls take. But which girls? Which ones do you concentrate on?
Oh, yeah.
Which ones don't you concentrate on? How do you resolve certain things that emerge during the shooting? Who takes the weight of the narrative? That's really hard in the observational process because you're all the time, you know, just trying to catch stuff as it's unfolding and you don't know what's happening. And in the editing, it's particularly difficult because that's where you have to shape the block of the statue from the block of marble. And in this film, much more than in any of the others, you know, you've got these 3 or 4 characters that we're working with, and you're streaming them, and in a way they've got their own separate journey that they're undertaking, but they're also interrelating with each other.
The best decision we made in the edit was that we actually started at the end. And we thought, well, the only place where everyone's in the one place at the one time, sort of at the one moment, is the opera house. So we cut all that, and I think it ended up being an hour and a half, just the rehearsal and the concert, and we just, every moment that could be anything, we just cut it all together and got a feeling of, that's what we've got to deliver. What in the bulk of the material do we have in all these characters and their journeys that are going to give those moments what they need to be? And that was really...
Yeah, because they were the resolutions, weren't they?
They were the resolutions. So we actually started at the end and then went back and worked out. And so, I mean, obviously we cut so many characters out along the way, which was kind of heartbreaking, but, you know, it had to be done.
The Opera House concert is always an event. It's an artistic event for the enrichment of our girls. It's to give every kid in the school a professional experience, to be involved in something that's above them. And when they've finished it, they realise what they've done. When you actually see kids rise to that level and you see that magic, you think, this is worth it, and it does define us. So whatever it is, there's no way out of it. We've got to keep doing them.
What's driving the film is that you go on a journey with a few of these people. You go on a journey with the whole 1,200 people in the school, but you go on a particular journey with 2 of them, or one of them, say Emily's son, the young violinist, who starts the film as an adolescent girl who's unsure of herself, who's hesitant, who's just beginning, you hope, to flower. And so you see this flowering, in a way, take place. My objective as a documentary filmmaker has always been to... It's the imperative that I follow is the same that all films should follow, and that is to make people laugh and to make them cry, to hold them spellbound in a dark room. And I'm just so pleased that that's what seems to happen in this film. And I think it's because of those journeys that these girls take, and they win. And that's uplifting.
That was Bob Connolly and Sophie Raymond talking about Mrs. Carey's Concert, which opens in limited national release tomorrow.